Coach Kurt. So if you're following my channel, you saw that I just put out a video about the escort position, because that one was by request, about getting to the escort position, how to get there, to handcuff mostly resisting people. Resisting doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to beat you up or destroy you, but this is the song of my people. You hear this from me all the time about the clinch range. You're either all the way in or you're all the way out, and not to just completely disregard striking, defense. I mean, we're going to be talking mostly being grabbed, but even when you're getting punched or someone's trying to punch you, you enter into the clinch range grabbing. So that will be touched on in this video a little bit, but mostly against a very unruly, very aggressive opponent in law enforcement, somebody who is actively resisting to the point where they might be trying to punch you or hurt you in the process, not just get away. You saw that I grabbed the wrist because that's common. Like, sir, you're under arrest, and you grab the wrist and they throw the punch. You have to be prepared for that. But in the same token, somebody grabs you. And I've had that happen to me too, where I wear the outer vest and somebody grabs onto it. Or in this example, I've never had this happen to me, where somebody grabs my rifle. Here's an interesting example of how to deal with it. Only works if you have a sling. They grab your rifle. They want to take the rifle from you. Give it to them. It's attached to you with a sling, and then you shoot them with your pistol. They're trying to take away your rifle and use it against you. Deadly force would be authorized. This would be somebody's grabbing your weapon, and how to defend your weapon. Guys, there are several ways to do that. But again, the theme on this video is grab or being grabbed. You see that I'm wearing an outer vest. That's common again in law enforcement today. A lot of officers are wearing outer vests. What do you do when somebody grabs it, either with one hand or both hands? It really doesn't matter. Again, you're all the way in or you're all the way out. But instructors will tell you all the time, don't be in punching range. It's literally impossible. At some point, you have to get close to people. You're dealing with citizens every day, and 9 times out of 10, it's in a good way, not a bad way. So you have to be close to them. But here I am, and I emphasized it on my last video quite a bit too, the arm pass and the duck under and the double under grips from both arms. That's how you're going to get into the clinch range. It doesn't matter if they're grabbing you or you're grabbing them. Generally speaking, unless you're talking gi situations, you're going for that underhook, double underhook, arm pass, duck under. With the gi, it's a little different because there's a little bit more space. It's a little bit more loosey-goosey, and you're using the gi, either their gi or their jacket, or they're grabbing onto your jacket. Think winter environment or the fall in the real world, or in my case, I'm always wearing an outer vest, and that's what they're going to grab onto. So this video is obviously focusing on that. You see your typical respond, and this is more your Taho Jutsu or Hapkido response, where I'm using a Z-lock, also known as Nikyo. But it doesn't matter what you're doing. Distance management is the most important aspect of the situation when somebody's trying to attack you or you're getting attacked. I just did a stop hit where he's bringing his foot in, and I'm stopping it with my foot in a straight linear tumpai center line. You're owning the center line. And here's an example of the lead leg front kick where they're moving in on you and you're keeping them off you. Guys, this is one of my favorite techniques. It buys you that time to get to your bat belt for your taser, pepper spray, baton, blah, blah, blah. Or the next time they come in, you can do it again, or you can go into a clinch. And by clinch, I mean the pummeling range. Again, I mentioned in my last video, I've had people say, why would you want to be pummeling with somebody? Again, don't think of pummeling as something you're doing. It's a drill, simply a drill. So again, you're not pummeling just for pummeling's sake. It's a good drill. Here you see I'm learning to go for that deep underhook. You see I'm going for that no-gi uchimata, which is different than the haraya-goshi, which is the outside leg, which is very different from another sweep you know as osotogari. I'm not going to get all tied up in the names. What's really important is that deep underhook. That deep underhook is crucial when you're grappling. See what he did there? He pinched my arm because I didn't have the deep underhook. That deep underhook, and you've got complete control of the person. You can frame out. You see me framing, and then going for the throw, the the uchimata. So that pummeling range into the clinch range is crucial. And again, we're not talking, you see how we're talking being grabbed or getting grabbed. Even in no gi, I'm using wrist control quite a bit so I can pivot or turn the other side of the body. But again, that deep underhook is crucial. Guys, if you're not practicing with intent, you're not practicing correctly. This is a great example of what good control tactics, being in the clinch range and not knowing what to do in the clinch range, can get you. Here you see an LAPD officer. He's on duty in a station house. This guy comes in, is just super irate. He starts throwing punches, real sloppy, crappy strikes. No skill whatsoever, but he gets lucky. You know, it's called the striker's luck. He only has to get lucky once. He hits the officer, who obviously doesn't know how to defend himself very well. He gets clipped in the face and he goes down. He goes down into a very crude side control or knee on belly type position, and they're fighting over the officer's gun. I wonder what kind of retention he had on his holster. Probably not a level 2 or 3 retention holster, but that's neither here or there. Luckily, and you see the officer's getting pistol whipped with his own pistol. Luckily, the bad guy didn't know how to safety operated on the 92 SF, the Beretta. And you can see from the body cam that he actually tried shooting the officer. He was pointing at him with the intent and trying to pull the trigger. And he did know how to take the safety off. But the officer still lost his gun, and other officers had to pursue him, and a gunfight ensued. All this could have been prevented with some good, solid control tactic skills, knowing how to respond in the clinch range. And guys, boxers are amazing strikers. Not that this guy is any way, shape, or form a boxer, but he just got aggressive and overwhelmed the officer in that strike range, clinch range. She just dived out of the way because she got shot at by he finally figured out the safety, and it turned into a shootout, a car chase, something that you would see on an episode of Miami Vice or something back in the day. But guys, perfect example of why it is so important. If you are in law enforcement today, you've got to have good grappling skills and striking skills. This is Coach Amanda. Again, she's the Muay Thai and boxing connection that we have. And we're just doing some pad work. In this session, she was actually teaching me proper use of pads because it's just not my area of expertise. And she was getting kind of a basic workout in. So, guys, if you do martial arts for law enforcement or self-defense, I don't care if you're Joe's Citizen soccer mom. I mean, she's 5'3", and she's got a lot of power, and she's very athletic. You need to have that striking. But, again, the grappling range, the grabbing range, the clinch, so important. You saw me go from a snap down to a 2-on-1 arm takedown. You see in the smaller windows, I'm just doing practice with a throwing dummy. I'm also doing what I call entering throw number 1, top left. Guys, you have to have these techniques, and you grab onto somebody and they know I don't want to be arrested, and you trip them and they go down. This is an example of what you do. You get on top of them, you hold the position, you put them in something like gift wrap, and you talk to them. Get them out of their lizard brain. And here he is, just not cooperating with me. I had to literally take his arm, put it around his back. He was giving me bad guy energy. That's how we train. Not necessarily judo or jujitsu energy, but he's just like, no, I'm not going to let you grab my hands and turn me over on my stomach, because that's what you do a lot of times. To get them in handcuffs, you got to get them over on their stomach. When somebody is athletic and doesn't want to cooperate, guys, I'm here to tell you, what you see in the movies is BS. You have to be willing to work for it, and you got to have patience. And here is an example of position before submission, or in this case, position before handcuffing. Being in the proper position, holding the position, keeping balance, not letting them buck you off, getting them out of their lizard brain, letting them blow their energy, and then you wait for the opening and you take it for handcuffing. Very different situation than civilian self-defense. But there's a lot of correlation, a lot of crossover. Generally speaking, in self-defense, you don't want to go to the ground unless you absolutely have to. In law enforcement, sometimes we don't have a choice. We have to go to the ground because we're attempting to handcuff somebody. And trying to handcuff somebody who's resisting in a standing position, it's just not going to happen. You have to have that fulcrum of the ground. Here's again an example, double arm grab, where I try to handcuff him, and he says, no, I'm not going to cooperate. He's pulling away. I go with the energy. I go into a position where I take the back. I eventually work my way into a side control, into a mount, and at this point, I'm just manipulating him and holding him in place, talking to him. Guys, if you are handcuffing somebody, talk to them. Let them know what you want. That's going to help them get out of their lizard brain. You're like, hey, it's just a warrant. You're going to beat me out of the jail. You know, I have a crap load of paperwork. It's not a big deal, man. Don't make this more than it needs to be. Stay out of your lizard brain. Talking to them helps you stay out of your lizard brain. And definitely have the skills to de-escalate the situation. De-escalation doesn't mean you're not going to have to go hands-on. That's a huge misnomer in law enforcement. It's the catchphrase of the day. De-escalate. He didn't de-escalate. De-escalate, again, absolutely doesn't mean you're not going to have to touch them. De-escalate means sometimes you're going to have to go hands-on, but you used objectively reasonable techniques to control this person. You didn't do huge osotogari and drop them on their head. You used something soft and controllable. Again, if you have to go to the next level and crank it up because it's turning into a deadly situation, absolutely do what you got to do. But again, take him down, control the situation, talk to him. That's super important. That's something you can't practice in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Although I have conversations with people in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as I'm rolling with them. It has nothing to do with start cooperating. It's just like, hey, that's cool. Hey, what did you do last week? I mean, I'm Mr. Gabby Gabs when I'm rolling with people. And I'm doing that so I can breathe and talk at the same time. Super important. If you're working out so difficult, I was just suggesting that you had the ability to use the head. If this was more of a combat situation, you got that position, you could easily then get their head and slam it. But that's not what you would do in a law enforcement situation. But I digress. Guys, getting someone in handcuffs that doesn't want to be handcuffed is extensively difficult. And then they might be playing possum on you, where you finally got control of them, and the pretend tap, as it were, and then they explode on you. Here is my old training partner from my old duty station, Val. She is in law enforcement with a different agency, and she's practicing the same techniques, where she's just doing knee on belly, riding the energy. She dropped into mount, and now she's working for the Americana. And then Americana, when she felt like she had the ability to do so, she rolled me over into bent arm handcuffing, the chicken wing position for handcuffing. Guys, I hope you liked the video. Let me know what you want to see. Please like, subscribe, and share. This channel works when you work with me and you tell me what you want. All right, guys, everybody take care and stay safe.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hey, Farva, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks?
You mean shenanigans?
Oh.
You're talking about shenanigans, right?
Put those away!